Oh, hi there. I heard you're setting up a tank for your betta fish. Or is it beta? Placa? You see bettas being sold in these tiny little cups in stores simply because they fight, and it's not realistic to put all of them in one tank. It's also not realistic to have each betta or 30 bettas in 30 big tanks. If you look behind me, I have a betta drip system set up through a sump pump. Now each compartment only holds about 1.5 gallons of water. This system is built for retail bettas, meaning that these fishes will be sold quickly. Ideally, you want to go with the 2.5 gallon tank or larger to provide room for your fish to swim around. And the larger the tank, the less water changing you'll have to do. The wider the tank, the better. Avoid skinny, tall tanks. Bettas naturally lives in ponds, rice paddies, not puddles for sure. All municipal water has a hint of chlorine or chloramine to disinfect the water. Sometimes you can smell it and even taste it. You know, it's kind of like that nasty pool water that some of us has accidentally drank once or twice before. Although it's safe for human and larger animals to consume, tap water is dangerous for your fish. It will kill your fish. So that means we must find a way to remove the chlorine or chloramine or destroy the chlorine and chloramine. Obviously, if you live off a well, you don't need to worry about chlorine or chloramine. Now, there are a few ways to remove chlorine and chloramine from your tap water. The easiest way is to spend a couple dollars and buy yourself some chemicals. I have here a couple chemicals I use. Now, there's a gazillion kind of chemicals out there that you can use. And you can purchase these from your local Walmart, pet store, PetSmart, Petco, even Amazon, eBay has them. Just make sure it says that it can remove chlorine and chloramine out of the water. Most bettas are kept in smaller tanks, and most of these chemicals are designed for 10-gallon tanks. For example, this chemical says 5 milliliter per 10 gallons. Now, I don't have a 10 gallon anywhere to mix this in. So here's a hack. Most of your buckets that you'll find around your house, these buckets, they're all 5 gallons. So what I do is I take half of the chemical, mix it in, 5 gallons, which is half of what 10 gallons is, and voila, I've got my water treated and ready for my fish. Now this tank only holds 3 gallons. So I'm going to have 2 gallons left over, which I'm going to place outside. The unused water is going to get old and age. And here's the secret. Bettas love old age water. They told me so. So now that your water is safe for your betta, we need to find a way to keep the temperature between 76 to 82 degrees, which is their natural habitat. There's really only 2 ways to do that. A, you can adjust the temperature in your home or in the room to 78 degrees, hoping that no one in your household is going to complain that it's too hot. And B, go out and buy yourself one of these aquarium heaters. Now this heater is not adjustable. It's going to keep my aquarium tank at 78 degrees all the time, and that's perfectly fine. But if your heater is adjustable, you're going to want to buy yourself a thermometer. Now on my website, I promise you this is the only sales pitch. We sell these Haiger heaters on our website that has a digital thermometer built inside. And the great thing is, it's adjustable. So you don't have to buy a nice heater like this. Any simple heater would work. But again, if your heater doesn't have a thermometer, you need to find a way to read the temperature inside the water. So if your heater doesn't have a thermometer, don't worry. There's other ways you can read the temperature inside the tank. The first is the cheapest, and that's to go online, buy yourself one of these little sticker thermometers. They stick on the outside, so remember, don't put this on the inside, and it'll read the temperature through the glass or plastic. Secondly, you can buy yourself one of these aquarium thermometers. They cost around $2 to $3 and goes inside the tank. It's a lot more accurate. Lastly, this one probably won't relate to you guys, but I'll mention it anyways. Because I breed and I have some ponds outside, a temperature gun comes in handy. All I do is point at the water, squeeze the trigger, and it tells me exactly what the temperature is. Next, we need to find a way to clean the poop, pee, and any uneaten food. And yes, fishes do pee. Because bettas live in slow to no current, I do not recommend those hang-on back filters. It creates too much current and suction and can potentially suck your betta's fins. I recommend going with a sponge filter. Something like this would work. There's 100 kinds of sponge filters out there that you can buy. These sponge filters are very inexpensive and can last a lifetime. But it's only going to capture small particles. Any large poop is going to sink to the floor, and you're going to have to find a way to sweep that. There's plenty of videos online and tools of how to clean the bottom of your tank. Moving on to number 5, which is not required, but you're now welcome to put decorations, sand, and rocks inside your tank. My advice, be careful. Stay away from sharp objects. Stay away from rocks with sharp edges. Try to go with round rocks. And the same goes with your ornaments. Even with these little tree, you'd want to trim off anything that's sharp. Now don't go too crazy. This is just a 3-gallon tank. You want to make sure you leave room for your fish to swim around as well. By the way, I hope you haven't bought your Betta yet, because we need to cycle the tank. Not cycle, but cycle. Here, let me explain.
Nitrogen, nitrogen, nitrogen. Cycle.
When we feed our fish, just like all of us, they're going to have to go to the bathroom. Fish poop, any uneaten food, and dead plants creates ammonia. Ammonia is poisonous to your fish, and there are 2 ways to get rid of ammonia. 1, do water changes, which is kind of like flushing the toilet. Or 2, we can hire bacteria helpers to get rid of the ammonia. Let's return back to the cycle pattern. Poop, any uneaten food, dead plants, creates ammonia. The first type of bacteria that forms on its own to eat ammonia is called nitrite. Nitrite is also dangerous for fish, but not as much as ammonia. Then comes another bacteria called nitrate to eat nitrite. Nitrate is less poisonous than nitrite and ammonia, and fishes can tolerate more of nitrate. But once again, ammonia is really bad. Nitrite is bad, and nitrate is kind of bad. Nonetheless, they are all bad, and sooner or later you're going to have to remove the nitrate out of your tank by doing water changes. Well, you might be thinking, well, that's dumb. I have to do water changes regardless. That's true. The good thing about the bacteria is that it helps you maintain the ammonia, which means less water changes. Alright, so let's do a quick recap. Number 1, we need to find a suitable tank. My recommendation is anything above 2.5 gallons. The larger the better. Number 2, we need to get rid of the chlorine and chloramine inside your tap water. Number 3, we need to keep the temperature around 76 to 82 degrees using heaters or adjusting your room. Number 4, use a sponge filter. Number 5, not required, but if you go with decorations, don't go too crazy and nothing sharp. And then number 6, which is extremely important, you want to cycle your tank. You're now ready to go shopping for your Betta. Now, if you've received a Betta from me, I've starved the Betta for a couple days so that it doesn't poop inside the water. You want to go ahead and put the bag with the fish inside. Let it float in your warm tank for a little bit so that the temperature will acclimate to the same. Once that's done, scoop the fish out of the bag and put your fish in your tank. Then slowly feed it. Don't dump a bunch of food in. Each day you can feed a little bit more and more. Lastly, don't do a lot of what newbies do. They go crazy, what I call aquarium seizure, and just go and buy a bunch of fish and stock the tank. You're going to create a nightmare for yourself. Ammonia is going to spike and your fishes are going to die. It's going to make you not want to be part of this hobby anymore. Keeping a Betta or a fish is a pet, so you want to spend time taking care of that pet and not get burned out. So enjoy the hobby, and I'll see you soon.